Amanda and I, we love what we do. And I enjoy studying happiness and longevity and how that relates to our work lives. And the studies will show that when you have a friend at work or somebody that you really enjoy working with, people are happier. And Amanda brings great joy to my work, and I'm thrilled to be a colleague and work with her. She's my partner in a lot of what we do, and we'll be chiming in quite a bit today. As I began to prepare the presentation and share with you 10 career mistakes to avoid, I'd like for you to put in the chat box, what do you think should be on that list? What are a couple of things that are on the list? I'll share a little history of the workshop and then we'll jump back to that list. About 10 years ago, I was putting together a workshop for recent grads or students that were getting ready to graduate on how to best enter their career world. And I got to thinking, normally I tell them the things they're supposed to do. Maybe I should be telling them things to avoid. And so I called up a few of my HR friends around the region and said, I'm preparing for this workshop. What advice do you give to, should I be giving to people, not only recent grads, but clients, on things to avoid in their career? Well, the HR folks got super excited and started sending me all of these articles and things that had happened to them at work. And I thought, oh my goodness, I think I'm onto something here. So the 10 career mistakes to avoid workshop started. Put that together, presented it several times, and then fast forward to last January. I thought maybe I should update this presentation. I noticed that Pivot Brewery was doing an Adulting 101 session, and so I reached out to them and said, is this anything you might enjoy? And they said, absolutely. We want you to be our May speaker. So I started updating the presentation and reaching back out to HR people across the region. And this is what they shared with me. This is information, it's not scientific, but it's straight from HR professionals in sharing stories of things that they see in the workplace. Before I share the list, Amanda, why don't you jump in here and maybe share some of the things that people have put on the list or put in the chat box.
Let's see here. It looks like Holly said undervaluing your skills. Emily said not listening or learning the culture before making changes. That's a good one. Those are the two that have come in so far.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing. Well, we're going to dive in, and obviously there's a lot of things that could be on this list, but when I collated all the feedback I received from HR folks, these seem to be the top areas of where they have seen people perhaps have a faux pas or a misstep. Not that any of us have made these, but we can always learn from others. And I'll give these and then some strategies. Go ahead, advance the slides. Let's begin. Number one, and these are in no particular order, but number one career mistake to avoid is failure to develop, nurture, and maintain your network. Even though technology is more prevalent than ever before, some things when it comes to job search and professional development have not changed. 80% of people still find their next career opportunities through some form of networking. This was so obvious to me during the recession of 2007 to 2009, where clients were coming out of the woodwork, where a lot of new clients were coming for career counseling that had never had to look for a job before. Mid and late career professionals that had never put together a resume or had not interviewed. And these folks had not put a lot of time into a network as well. And I watched, it took them a lot longer to land on your feet. So please develop your network, nurture it, and maintain it. An acronym I like to use at Job Club is remember your ABCs. What that stands for is always be connecting. I've been doing this for 30 years now, And I have seen people land jobs or great opportunities from the soccer field or at church just as equally as at their professional association meetings or conferences or job boards. So each month, spend a little time networking. And I know during COVID, we're having to be a little creative, but I've actually been able to get through to some people that I thought, oh my gosh, they'll never take my call or my Zoom. So during COVID, it's been actually a little easier to reach out to people and have some networking calls. So I encourage you to do that. Also, LinkedIn, having a LinkedIn profile, a robust LinkedIn profile is a must for networking, not just when you're job seeking, but LinkedIn really needs to be a part of all of our professional life. In order to be seen as a professional, if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, people are not going to take you as seriously. So please, if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, make sure you have one and make sure it's a good one. There's lots of good information out there on LinkedIn, but make sure you have a good LinkedIn profile. Also, I encourage you to have a 30-second commercial and get real comfortable delivering that. So when you meet somebody for the first time, be able to tell them a little about yourself and go from there. These are just a few of the highlights I'm going to hit in each of the categories. Obviously, we have so much great information on professional development that this could easily be a half-day workshop. But I'll hit just a few of them. Amanda, you jump in anytime as well. Next, number 2 is becoming stagnant or coasting through your career. Unfortunately, people that are not proactive in their career management are sometimes the ones that are let go first. They're the ones that are overlooked for promotion or advancement. Each year, we should be committing to doing a couple of things that we could add to our resume. What's something that I can add as a bullet point in my current job? Is there a stretch assignment? Is there a new credential you could be working toward? Is there an online class or certification? Many things are free these days. What can you do to be building bullet points on your resume or adding to that professional development section? Each month, try to watch some TED Talks. Do something engaging in your industry that will allow you to learn and grow. Employers continue to tell us one of the things they want in a candidate is that they can show that they're a lifelong learner. It's also a common interview question. Tell us something you've learned lately. Next. Number 3, and these are again straight from HR professionals, being inflexible or resistant to change. And lots of stories came through on this one. This one HR person told me, she called me to tell me this story. She said, our company was in a bit of a tight spot. And we went to one of our employees that we considered a rising star and asked her to take on a stretch assignment. And she told us no, she wasn't willing to do that. Well, fast forward 6 months later, and there was a new position in our department that was getting ready to post. And this person was interested in applying, and our hiring committee did not seriously consider her because she would not help us out. So we all have to be flexible. COVID certainly taught us that. A common interview question right now is, tell us about a time when you had to be adaptable or flexible. And I think we can all come up with COVID stories on where we've had to pivot very quickly. But do what you can to pitch in, help the team whenever. These are things that really irk HR professionals and higher ups when people are not willing to pitch in and are kind of resistant to change. Next. Having a bad attitude or poor communication skills. This one repeatedly comes up on lots of different types of surveys. Sadly, we're often unaware of where our blind spots might be. Um, I really encourage you to take advantage of training. UK has a fabulous training department. It's a great benefit of working at UK. I really encourage you to try to have the Clifton Strengths administered to learn your 5 signature strengths. Have the Myers-Briggs administered. These are all things that will help you be a better communicator. Also consider joining Toastmasters, especially if you have to lead meetings or presentations or webinars in your job. Early in my career, I was having to give presentations, and that was not in the job description when I applied. But very quickly, I was being brought in to do fundraising after dinner talks, and I was a nervous wreck. After the first few, I looked in the mirror and I had red hives all over my neck. I was completely broken out after having to give these talks. And I thought, oh dear, I've got to get through this. So I joined Toastmasters. Can't say enough excellent things about Toastmasters. There's several clubs in Lexington. There is one that meets on campus on Tuesday mornings. A great way to learn, grow, develop. And the learning curve is straight up on Toastmasters. A couple of other communication things that HR professionals share with us is always praise in public, and when you need to reprimand, do that in private. And remember to exit with class. When you're leaving a job, no matter how bad the situation was, please remember to exit with class because the world is small and career karma is real and it's fast. I've seen lots of examples of career karma, and oh boy, it turns around really fast to come back. Next. Number 5 is seeking a promotion before putting in the work. This is a new one that was on the list this time. And a few HR professionals submitted this one. And a little more about what they mean there is trying to rise too quickly or lacking some of the skill sets. So seek out opportunities. If you're looking to rise, are there trainings that you can take that would help document on paper as well as give you some skill sets that would justify a promotion? What are you doing, or how can you share that you are ready for this promotion? What stretch assignments have you taken on? Also, involving your boss early on is always beneficial, especially when we start new positions. How can our supervisor or boss walk alongside us? Having those crucial career conversations early on to let them know, I'm grateful for this position. I'm going to work hard and learn all I can. But in a couple of years, I would like to be doing this. And any assignments that you could give me or any feedback that you can give me that would help me, I would really appreciate your walking alongside me in support. I know in some situations that's a little easier, or with some people it's a little easier to do than others, but have those career conversations. Amanda, I'm going to pause here a minute and see if there's anything in the chat box we should address before we move on.
There's a couple of questions that have come through the chat. Can you talk a little bit more about Toastmasters and the benefits for
Absolutely.
joining?
Okay. Oh my goodness. Love Toastmasters. I used to be the president of Lexington Toastmasters. There's lots of Toastmaster organizations. Many of them are probably on pause right now or only meeting via Zoom, but it's toastmasters.org. It's an international organization that the goal is to help people be better communicators. People from all walks of life. In the club I used to be a member of, we had cab drivers, we had blacksmith, we had professors at UK, everything in between, all walks of life. Everybody was there just to learn to be a better communicator. Some people were asked to come. Some companies here in town sent their people that were on leadership tracks. to Toastmasters to help them be better speakers or maybe learn how to lead better meetings. So it's a great fun way to learn. You go at your own pace. It's a very supportive group of people, and you'll very quickly see how fast you get your skills improve. Can't say enough positive things about Toastmasters, and it's such a quick way to see some great self-improvement that will definitely help you not only in your career but also in your personal life. Is there another question?
Not right now.
Okay, let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is missing opportunities to help and support others. Um, there are so many easy ways that we can help support our colleagues, our coworkers, our departments. Um, Nominate a colleague for an award. When they're in a crunch time, offer to help them. Sometimes events are being put on by somebody in our department and it gets close to the event and all hands need to be on deck. How can we be valuable to our coworkers and our colleagues? Uh, there are many opportunities to do that, so step up for those. You'll be seen more as a valuable team member, um, and this will come back to help you in many ways. Plus, it's an extra thing you can put on your resume under the community and civic involvement section. Um, there's many nonprofits even in the region that need our help. Uh, Looks great to have community and civic involvement on your resume, but it's also a great networking opportunity to step up and just volunteer to help people, even though it's not in your job description. Next. This one is where I was so daggone naive when I first started my career. Number 7 is ignorance of the company's business model and your role. Like many of you, perhaps I was first generation college. My parents were not professional people. We did not know business people. So when I got out of college, I had a lot of learning to do and I had a lot of blind spots on the world of work. So I watched a lot, I read a lot. I had some mentors that I really attached myself to learn from them. But one of the things I'd like to point out is every job, no matter if it's in our job description or not, successful people in every job, if they know how to incorporate marketing, PR, and sales, they're going to be much more successful. Marketing, PR, and sales, whether it's you being a spokesperson for what your department does, or a service you provide, or an upcoming event. One of my first jobs for a nonprofit, I can remember we all got in the car to go to an event, and our supervisor was very good about pulling our small office in and making sure we had tickets to the events and things that we needed to be at to help promote our organization. But she was very good about anytime we went out the door, making sure we had brochures and applications for our nonprofit and promotional pieces always in our handbag and in our car trunk. So I learned from her that, golly, part of my job, and it's not in my job description, I was the career counselor. Part of my job is to promote that company and what they do, that business, that nonprofit. So sales, marketing, and PR are in every job description, whether it's written or not. And people that know how to do that, it helps facilitate networking. It helps make you be seen as a resource. I'm sure you all have some good examples of when you've done that as well. But what are some ways that you can, help promote the company? Also, I think many times women, especially, we just think, okay, I'm in my lane here, and if I just keep my head down and work hard, um, the bigger picture is not as important. I'm doing my job. But we all need to know how our job fits into the big picture. Also, early in my career, a very wise woman I met once, she said, Caroline, always know where the money comes in the organization. I'm like, really? I was so daggone naive. She said, know where they get their money, where it comes in. Those are always going to be the people that are going to be the last ones laid off in a recession. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting, but so true. So know how the company or the department makes their money, know how you fit into the mission of the organization. What is your job doing to help promote the mission of your department? And by keeping aware of that, it also helps us be more focused and intentional. And it can also help us perhaps use our Clifton strengths in a more purposeful way. Next. Number 8 is poor self-awareness. And this is where I'd also like to really plug UK training and the Clifton Strengths, the Myers-Briggs, any training opportunities that you can take advantage of through UK training development. They are so resources. Um, we have blind spots that we're not aware of. And through educating ourselves, we can help we can help compensate for that and grow and develop. Um, Also, knowing, being open to feedback. Make it easy for people to give us feedback. Perhaps come out and ask for it. What could I have done better to make that meeting go a little smoother? It didn't seem to go so well. What advice would you give to somebody who's getting ready to do this? Ask to maybe role play or practice with a coworker or a colleague when you have a big project or a presentation. Also, we need to own our behaviors more. Um, there are all things we can work on. So owning our behavior and having plans to improve upon those will go a long way toward career success. Next. This is one where women are especially prone to messing up. Number 9, leaving your career progression up to others. So many of us, we have a lot going on in our lives. Work-life balance is a dream. But leaving our career progression up to others, we spend so much focused time doing our day-to-day job and checking off our list and getting everything done that we don't plan for our next career move or what we ideally want to be doing. And we think, oh, they'll notice how hard I'm working. Well, then when it's not noticed in our evaluation, we get angry or upset. So we have to be more intentional about our career progression. And that might involve a little tooting your own horn. Uh, Perhaps you can even have a system with coworker where you'll have them when you have an accomplishment, maybe they'll be the one that recognizes it for you or shares out with the department or the boss. Hey, did you know so-and-so did this week for our team? Way to go. Also, this is where we need to keep an active file of what we've been doing this year in our job. And before our evaluation, ideally twice a year, we'd at least have a conversation to update our supervisor on these are some things that you may or may not be aware of that I've been doing this year and I wanted to draw to your attention. Keep our supervisors aware of what we've been doing to help the team or advance or learn or grow or how we're being more adaptable. This will serve you well in the long run, and it's time we start taking ownership and credit of our successes and also our career path, where we want to go. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's just part of learning and growing and taking stretch assignments. Sometimes they go better than others, but those are just things that we need to be doing in our career. Yesterday in Joe LaBianca's session on salary negotiation, He mentioned that sometimes people have to leave UK in order to bump up in salary. And they may come back at one point. They may not. They may realize, oh my gosh, there's life beyond UK. True, many people want to work for UK and it's a great place to work. But sometimes there's not places for you to move and grow here. And you'll need to be very proactive about networking and applying for positions perhaps in other industries or with other companies. So I wanted to open that door just to realize that there is life beyond UK. And if you do leave and come back, there's good potential you'll be able to bring more skills and experience back and warrant a higher salary bracket. Lots of things that we could include in this section. Mainly just have some goals. What are some of your goals for 2021? Let's take a second and throw a few of those in the chat box. What are some of your career goals for 2021? Is there something you'd like to learn? A new certification? I know I was thinking this week, oh my goodness, I've not taken a class at UK for several years and I need to take advantage of that UK employee benefit. So I'm looking to take a class in 2021. Great, Amanda, I'll have you share some of those out.
Sure. It looks like a couple of folks are looking to take classes at UK as well. Looks like, yeah, looks like most people are thinking about pursuing graduate level studies.
Awesome. Really encourage you to do that. Get involved with the UK Women's Forum. There's lots of opportunities for professional growth and development by doing that. New credentials. What are some new credentials maybe that you could work toward? I also want to share that sometimes our professional development may have to come from our own pocket, especially if it's earlier in your career or if there's not a real connection between why you want to do it. We are very fortunate at UK that we can get a lot of professional development, but sometimes we have to pull that out of our own pocket. And I know early in my career, I didn't have a lot of extra money, but I knew I had to get some credentials to get the kind of jobs I wanted in my field. So I was having to fork it out to get some credentials that allowed me to have the jobs that I've had through the years. So periodically we're going to need to do that. Toastmasters, there's a very, very small fee, but that could be in your professional development fund. I also encourage you to create a small coffee fund that whenever things open back up, you set aside $20 here and there and say, I'm going to invite somebody to go to coffee or have a glass of wine with me, somebody that would be really good for me to get to know. Creating your own personal board of directors. Who are some people that are wise or people that have things that you could benefit from learning? Perhaps they're a mentor. Maybe they have some excellent connections. Don't be afraid to reach out. Who's
Well,
somebody you would like to reach out to in 2021?
oh wait, I don't want them to be able to hear me. Doesn't that unmute?
Okay. Are there any more in there? Okay. Love to see some of the things that you all are putting in here.
I've been replying to a few of them. Some are looking at to some leadership programs that HR is looking at. And I wanted to make the group aware you can take the supervision series even if you're not a supervisor yet. So if you're looking to grow at UK, that could be a great idea. It also looks like Sarah is going to do the Essential Leaders program, and that's a fantastic program to get connected to. All those are free resources that are available to you right here at UK. You might also look at LinkedIn Learning. You can get free access to that through the Lexington Public Library with your library card. You might also look at edx.org. What are some of the others? Coursera.org are great for free courses as well. I'll put some links in the chat for you.
Thank you very much. This is awesome. I just wish that we could be meeting in person and the good vibes that could be feeding off of each other and we could all be encouraging and promoting each other. I would encourage you to create a small group, 4 or 5 people, ideally people that you don't know that well. Maybe there's people across campus or even off of campus, and create your own little support group where the goal of this may be a dream team concept, where the goal of this is to meet every other month and help each other with some career goals and networking. Early in my career, I did one of these, and it was amazing how much we each learned and grew in a rather quick period of time. It helped that we were at different stages of our careers and in entirely different industries. We met for coffee every other month and shared what was going on at work, asked for advice, feedback, and then we had a goal. And we would check in each time. It was so much fun, and I met some people that I would have never met otherwise. I invited 2 people that I vaguely knew, and I asked them each to bring 2 people. And it was a wonderful thing to do. So I encourage you to create one of those little dream team concepts and go for it. Number 10, our last one is making your job your entire life. And we've had some great sessions in this conference already on work-life balance. There's a fabulous quote from The Shining. All work and no play makes a Jack a dull boy. One of the things that interviewers will often ask, we can see on your resume all these awesome accomplishments, but we want to know a little more about you. What would it be like to work with you? Or sometimes in an interview, those little things that might be in a cover letter or that they might see on your LinkedIn profile that gives a glimpse of your hobbies or your passions, these are the things they often gravitate toward. So I encourage you to make yourself interesting. What are some things that you do that are a little different? I know I'm a beekeeper. I keep bees on the side and I can a lot of food. And I'm in a women's spinning group that spins fiber. What are some of the things that you do that are just hobbies, how you relax? I'd love to see some of those in the chat box. What makes you interesting? These are the kind of things that at cocktail parties and when you're, hey, at a conference after hours when people are trying to get to know each other better, these are the kind of things they'll love hearing more about. Oh, wedding planning on the side. Cool. Tell us some more things. If you had a side business or a side gig that you could develop, what would it be? Amanda, why don't you share some of those out for us and keep them coming?
Sure.
What gets you excited about life outside of work?
Looks like kayaking, making homemade soap. That's a fun one. Woodworking, needlepoint, yoga, hiking, gardening, cooking, swimming, painting and crafting, lifting weights,
Ooh, yeah.
hiking, running, equestrian operation, knitting, podcasting. That's a good one.
And I hope during COVID that you've actually had a chance to maybe develop some of these a little more. This is awesome. But we are all going to work, by choice or not, a lot longer than prior generations. And we're given this 20 years in the middle. One of the areas I'm very passionate about is encore careering. And I have a long list of all these different kind of fun jobs that I want to do. I encourage you to start an encore career list. Some of these might be gigs you can even be trying out and sampling along the way. Um, but longevity studies show that people that work longer tend to live longer. They're healthier, they live longer. And it might not be a full-time job, but what are some of the encore gigs that perhaps you could be dabbling in now? I know one of the things I want to learn how to make fancy chocolates and pies. I'd love to be a bluegrass tour guide. What are some of the fun things that you would like to do as encore careers or jobs? Could be totally different than what you're currently doing.
Carolyn, I want to be your taste tester. There's
Yeah.
some great ones in the chat here. Floral design, teaching English online. Great ideas on here. Professional gift buyer. I want to do that too, Holly.
Ooh.
That's a
Life
fun
is
one.
way more than our day job. So make yourself interesting, have hobbies, enjoy the journey.